Hi guys, I am back to talk about my Simply Addicted journey. The last video I discussed a little bit of the medical side, which I definitely will dive in deeper in a future video. But today I wanted to talk about the first day that I went to the hospital that basically was forced into my sobriety and really didn't feel like I had a choice anymore. I'll start off with white wine was my poison for sure. I liked the occasional mixed drinks. I, of course, like beers, Trulies, White Claws, etc. But wine was my always go-to. I would start with small bottles, then it led to bigger bottles. Then it eventually led to boxed wine. It was cheaper, it tasted good, and I couldn't really keep track of how much I was drinking, and to be honest, I didn't want to. I would sometimes go to 3, 4 different grocery stores just to stock up on my boxed wine so I wouldn't look like an alcoholic. And I was doing all this while holding down a job. I worked for my father's law firm throughout my addiction, and I don't know how I did it. I just put on this face and did it. But in the beginning, I was only drinking after work in the evenings. Then it crept into lunchtime. Then it was happy hour. Then it was all through the evenings. And eventually I would wake up with my heart racing, my hands shaking, and that's when I crossed the line and began drinking first thing in the mornings. And I knew it wasn't good. I knew it wasn't healthy. But I really didn't care. I remember going to a restaurant and thought it was a good day because I hadn't had my first drink until lunch. But as I was sitting there waiting for the waitress to come, I started to shake pretty badly to the point where I wasn't going to be able to pick up my glass without it being obvious. So that's when I discovered the magic of drinking wine through a straw. And that quickly became like my thing. And then I would find out my husband would start throwing it away or hiding it from me. And it would infuriate me. We would get in terrible, nasty fights. In fact, I almost lost my marriage many times, but nothing was stopping me. Alcohol was always number one. So then I started hiding my drinks in my closet in random places around the house just to get my fix. At that point, alcohol had completely taken over my life. It controlled every choice that I made. For the past 2 years, I would say, before I got sober, I would have my husband, my family, my friends all come to me and say, you don't look well. You're not looking well. You're not looking like yourself. Your eyes are turning more yellow, your skin as well, which is clear signs of jaundice, and meaning my liver was in trouble. And of course, I didn't want to hear it. I would protect alcohol at all cost. I would lie. I would deflect. At one point, I went to the store and bought Lumify eye drops to make my eyes appear whiter. That's how desperate I got just to hide it. And I would always say, I'm fine, I'm fine. When people would tell me that they were worried about me, it made me angry. I knew it came from a genuine place of love and concern, but it just made me angry. My family knew I had a problem with drinking. They just didn't know how bad it got. And I had isolated myself to keep it that way. But my husband saw everything up close and he was worried sick. And to be honest, I don't blame him. It was spiraling. Let's just say that. It was spiraling quickly and I didn't want to listen. I had this gut feeling that he was going to talk to my family. And so I would threaten him and I would get in these crazy fights and I would just don't, that was the last thing that I wanted. But, he had reached his breaking point. And I remember he had called my brother and sister and to figure out what to do. I remember it was a Tuesday and I came home from the bar. Sure enough, I was at happy hour. And mind you too, I would try to leave work a little bit early to make happy hour to get home before my husband came home, just to make it seem like I didn't even go anywhere after work. But I remember that Tuesday I got home and he had put together a conference call with my entire family and they all took turns speaking and they all expressed their worry for me. And I didn't say much. I just listened. It was really hard to hear, really hard pill to swallow, but I knew it was coming from a place of, love. And deep down, I knew that they were right. So they had convinced me to see my family doctor and to get a full blood panel. So I went the very next day, and I'll never forget this. The doctor came in and just took one look at me and didn't have to wait for my lab results. He said, "Get her to the hospital now." And that's when the whirlwind of everything happened, like I had briefly mentioned in my first video. And that's the moment everything changed. Thank you for listening to me today. And there's plenty more to unfold. And I'll be back. Bye-bye for now.